Thank you very much, Marie. And I send apologies from our CEO and President, Kathy Span, who woke up with a terrible sore throat yesterday and has absolutely no voice whatsoever. So she sends her regrets. But first, let me thank the IFPRI team for hosting us today, including inviting us to these wonderful new premises to have this joint seminar. And also thanks to Amy Baker from Global Affairs Canada and also Beth Dunford from the U.S. Agency for International Development for giving us some of their precious time and also for the support provided by their respective institutions. At Helen Keller International, we place very high priority on undertaking research related to all our field programs, including those involving nutrition, to ensure that they're not only evidence-based, but also designed to achieve impact. This is really, really important to us. And our flagship Homestead Food Production Program, the acronym is HFP, being showcased today is no exception. HKI developed and piloted our first HFP program in Bangladesh nearly 30 years ago, so maybe more than some of you in the room here today. And since then, we've been able to reach about 1.3 million families across Asia, Pacific, and Africa. And the program has continued to evolve and grow and improve. And our latest program is just being launched in Myanmar that has not just nutritional outcomes, but also livelihood outcomes. And through this time, we've conducted research with premier scientific partners such as IFPRI, which have really led to improvements in the program model. Our collaboration with IFPRI, so I'm going to tell a little story here so you can see it's important to know the backstory, but it really began in earnest in 2008 when we joined forces to research one of our HFP programs in Cambodia to study the program impact pathways of the model. And the lessons learned from that research have been really, really massive for HKI in the way we implement our homestead food production programs today. About the same time in 2008, the global food crisis exploded on the development scene, which triggered major attention to the issue of agriculture and nutrition, which today we call agricultural sensitive nutrition. You see, prior to that, decades before, nutrition and agriculture lived in separate silos, and there were often very few links made between them in the field. However, the concern about malnutrition triggered by the global food crisis changed this as the development community began to question whether agricultural programs could do more to improve nutrition. And around the same time, the first nutrition series from The Lancet was released on what works to improve nutrition, and this has further escalated the discussion around agriculture and nutrition. This was followed by proliferation, and I mean a proliferation of technical reviews of existing studies to examine the evidence base around this big question of whether agriculture programs can improve nutrition. And the overwhelming answer from these reviews was a resounding, we don't know. It was clear that the evidence linking the two was very weak, especially when it came to impact on child growth. And the consensus was this was primarily due to inadequately designed programs and also weak evaluation plans. Meanwhile, the buzz around agriculture and nutrition continued to grow. And by 2013, the second Lancet Nutrition Series was released and contained a great paper by IFPRI's Marie Ruel and colleagues, which further underscored the dearth of evidence on the topic of nutrition-sensitive programmings, including in agriculture. So it became abundantly clear that much more investment was needed in research to identify the essential design elements of agricultural programs that were necessary to see improvements in child nutrition, particularly the elusive goal of reduction of child stunting. And unlike the past, any future research would need to be methodologically robust and also statistically powered to ascertain changes in nutritional status. So that really brings us to where we are today to look at the presentations. HKI first introduced our HFP program in Burkina Faso about 8 years ago with support from USAID. And that project allowed us to join forces again with IFPRI to study and undertake the first ever cluster randomized control trial of HFP programs' impact on nutrition status and child growth. So that was really exciting. The results were published in 2015 and 2016 and showed statistically significant effects on key nutrition outcomes, including reductions in child wasting, improvement in hemoglobin levels, and a reduction in anemia levels. And of course, we were really pleased, to say the least, but we also realized there was a lot more that we still needed to do and learn. Meanwhile, throughout this time, the Canadian government the interest was growing very much around nutrition-sensitive agriculture, and they were eager to learn more about which programs and what aspects of those programs would have the greatest impact on nutrition. This led them to providing support to HKI to conduct a 3-year study research project named Creating Homestead Agriculture for Nutrition and Gender Equity, which is known as the CHANGE Project for short. And under the CHANGE project, HKI provided technical assistance to local government and partners in order to design and implement the programs, while IFPRI provided the design and rolled out the evaluation and the RCT in the 2 countries of Burkina Faso and Tanzania. Additional work was conducted in Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal by HKI to test other models of the homestead food production under differing conditions. Across all countries, we work with the International Center for Research on Women to pay particular attention to what design effects would be needed to improve and enhance gender equity. But there was so much accomplished under CHANGE, I hate to say we're not going to be able to explain and share it all with you today, but we're going to focus on the results of the RCT trial in Burkina Faso. And with our valued colleagues from IFPRI, I will now hand over the program for that. Thank you.